Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the CEW Podcast, the show where I just ramble about things that are going on, and maybe announce some things along the way. And yeah, we'll just get into it, because we got quite a bit to talk about. So, life updates. Not much has changed since the last time you guys saw me. Apart from my hair growing longer, I still need to get it cut. I was ill, 3 weeks ago at this point, which kind of put a bit of a tailspin on plans. Apologies if the camera keeps going in and out of focus. I don't know what's going on with it. But, it is what it is. I'm back now. I'm trying to run at 100% again. And yeah, we are going to try and do our damnedest to make that happen. Yeah, life has just kind of been a little bit weird recently. Nothing crazy, nothing bad per se. It's just, it's just been life, and that can get in the way sometimes. I've been working on way more content than I thought I would be right now, but right now my focus is on trying to get some sort of money going for myself, because there's only so much you can do before ultimately you've got to make the conscious decision to focus on something purely for the sake of getting some sort of monetary value out of it, which it is kind of why I'm also putting out as much content as I am. I'm trying to farm those watch time hours so that you guys don't have to give me any sort of money, because I don't want to create a culture around here, or a community where people feel like they have to give money, or they have to provide some sort of monetary benefit to the channel in order to be appreciated and to feel like they're valued in this community. This is something that I've had a lot of discussions with, just thinking about, and it's something that I never want to put anybody in this community in that sort of mindset, or that sort of position where they feel like they have to give money. I will always say it, and I will continue to say it until I'm blue in the face. If you guys want to give money, then that is greatly appreciated. If you want to become a member, that is greatly appreciated. It is never, and it will never be mandatory. I will never put CEW or EPW or even this podcast behind a paywall, right? The only way that would ever happen is if we get to the point where certain videos just start to impact the channel to a worrying degree. But even then, that would come with a lot of thinking and a lot of thought process. So I just wanted to kind of give that, and I also just want to give a little bit of advice to people, right? Because I know a lot of the time in these podcasts I talk about I need to make money, right? And it's that's only because I'm 21 years old. I've just graduated from university, and I've got a lot of responsibility on my plate now. A responsibility to go out and find work and do all of this and do all of that, and I want to still be able to do what I consider to be the thing that I can do the best, which is this, and creating content. But for those of you that maybe don't have this levy of responsibilities, or people who don't have essentially the sort of Damocles hanging over their heads, then don't worry about it, right? Don't worry about views or likes or whatever, right? Especially when you're starting out. Focus on building a community, and focus on creating the videos that you like creating, and that you want to create, and that you want to see on this platform, right? That's what I've been doing for the past 9 months. And to say that it's not only changed the channel in terms of how big the channel has gotten, but also in terms of my work ethic, well, it would be an understatement. This thing has absolutely changed the way, and this mindset's absolutely changed the way that this channel has gone, and my mindset is, and just all of that, right? And it's something that I feel like a lot of smaller creators don't understand, right? If you want to do a course show, do a course show. If you want to do a universe mode with real wrestlers, do it as well, right? If you've got the time, do that as well. If you want to talk about wrestling think pieces, or what's currently going on in wrestling, do it, right? You have the luxury, especially when you're starting out, right, of nobody knowing who you are, and therefore having no pre-existing tag against you, oh, you are the core guy, you are the universe mode guy, right? even if you do have that label chucked onto you at any point in your time doing YouTube, just don't let it phase you, man. Don't let anything weigh you down from just having fun and making the content you want to make, alright? I feel like this is something that a lot of people I feel like are dealing with at the moment, just within a lot of communities, and I feel like maybe it's something that people within the core scene and within the wrestling scene need to hear. You just need to make the videos that you're passionate about, because if there's one thing, especially when you're starting out, that people will see above like your editing ability and like your thumbnails and your titles, etc., right, is if they click and you're like, hello and welcome to this video where we talk about Roman Reigns returning. If you're passionate, people will stay, right? People will click on the video for the premise, they will stay for you. And that is something that I feel like a lot of people need to realize, right? Is that when you're small, you gotta sell yourself on your brand and build up your community. And you don't need to worry about anything else other than having a cool community of people. And once again, we are blurry, but I'm just gonna keep going because my thought process is here. You know, you shouldn't have to worry about, you know, what's going on with your analytics until you even get to the point where you're making a decent amount of money, right? Even if you're only making like a couple pounds or whatever a month, don't even worry about it, right? Just do what you like to do and just build your brand and build your channel off of it. I thought I would give that a little bit of advice because again, yeah, I had something sent to me by one of my friends today about very similar to it, and it just stuck with me, you know. So I just thought, we'll talk about it on the podcast. Why not? So now we get on to the EPW Rebuild Initiative. Now you're probably all wondering, Byron, why? Like, you've only gone through one pay-per-view cycle on EPW. Why are we suddenly having this like rebrand, this rebuild? Well, simply put, I'm just not a fan of the roster, or at least majority of it. Let me explain a little bit more. So, I think we have a very solid main event scene within EPW. We've got like Bullet Holland, we've got like Giuseppe Alfred, we have like a couple members of Empire International, but I feel like we're losing a bit of depth, right? I know we got dudes like Oscar Harrison and Devin Todd, but I'm not really fans of them as much as I once was a few years back. And that's when I was like, well, why don't I just rebuild the roster? You know, 2K24 is a new game. It's an excuse to maybe get rid of some of the people that I'm not really vibing with, right? And I've had to cut pre-existing stories and pre-existing biases that I have towards certain characters. Like, the tag division's basically going to get completely gutted. I've got like 3 or 4 tag teams I'm going to keep, and then that is it. I've got the women's division, which I'm going to keep quite a few of them, but a lot of them are going to be getting replaced with new people, and exactly the same with the men's division, right? I need more main eventers, I need more depth for the mid-card, and like, I am using open challenge nights and also these core reviews. We're blurry again, but we're just going to go with it, right? I'm using these as a way to just get on with it, right? To just potentially bring some of those people from the core reviews onto EPW. So, for those of you that are watching the podcast, you're probably the ones that are like the most dedicated when it comes to this channel, right? Like, you're the ones that are watching like all of the content, and I appreciate you a lot. So, if you are interested in joining the EPW roster, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do like an incredibly in-depth application form, just because, well, we're a highlight show with full matches for championship matches and pay-per-views, right? So I don't need like a full-blown like backstory, etc. But what I am going to do is I'm going to create something similar to the Open Challenge Night forms, where I just want to gauge your interest in, would you be interested in joining the EPW roster? And this doesn't just go out to the people who have already done core reviews or Open Challenge Night. If you're still waiting to be on Open Challenge Night, or you're still waiting to see if you've made it, go ahead and just, you know, fill out the form. It'll be in the description. It shouldn't take too long. It will have all of the stuff where if I want to use your character, then I'll be able to use them as soon as humanly possible, so that I can gauge where we're like who wants to be on EPW and who I could bring in, right? Because, you know, I want EPW to feel a bit more like a community show. I feel like the big issue with it at the moment is that it feels a little bit closed off, because it really is just me, my characters, and then a few characters from my friends, right? And I know a lot of people are going to say, but oh, isn't CEW the same? Yeah, but we have Open Challenge Night for CEW, right? And sure, we have it for EPW, but it doesn't bleed into EPW as much as it does with CEW. So, I'm hoping that this is going to be a way to not only help build up the hype towards EPW a little bit more. You know, with Chaos Reigns coming up, we can have a lot of fun with what's being done there. And again, we're blurry. I'm just gonna, you know, whenever I'm blurry, I'm just gonna put a picture of saying up on screen, just because why not? I don't want to have people feel like they can't be a part of anything on the network, right? You know, like, because I know how that feels, and I understand that a lot of people want to be on CEW because, you know, I understand that a lot of people are fans of my work, and I appreciate that, but EPW is probably easier, because we're at a point now where I'm just not super happy with the full roster, so I am creating a few characters of my own. If you guys, like I said, can fill out the forms, you know, if you want to be a part of it, or even, again, just like showing interest, if you could fill that out as quickly as humanly possible, that would be great, because apparently the 2K23 servers are shutting down very, very soon, so we're having to move stuff over to 24 way quicker than I expected, and that's a problem, but that is a topic for another day. Again, if you want to be a part of the EPW roster, or even just a little bit interested about it, you know, just fill out the form. Probably the best thing for EPW would be if you are on the Discord server, or if you are on Twitter. I will say I do micromanage the show a lot, so don't necessarily expect for it to be mainly, you know, like, hey, I've got this really cool story. You can pitch me stories, but don't expect all of them to happen, and expect me to go, hey, I already have plans for you, so you're just going to have to deal with that, right? You know, like, I'm sounding a little harsh there, but, you know, tis the breaks, pal. But yeah, like, I definitely want to make EPW a lot more community-based, right? And I think this is the way forward, and it also saves me a lot of time. Instead of having to make like 150 wrestlers across 2 rosters, I can cut back a little bit on the characters I need to make for EPW. So, yeah, don't really think there's much else to say, honestly. That's been the podcast, and yeah, see ya.